Welcome to another enlightening podcast from Be Awake, Aware, Alive.com, where we question everything. You're not connected to Source. You are Source. By the Be Awake, Aware, Alive.com team. There's a quiet whisper that runs through most spiritual teachings, self-help books, and wellness communities. Connect to Source. We're told to meditate our way into alignment, to pray our way into presence, to perform rituals and ceremonies that somehow bridge the gap between our fractured little selves and the infinite, loving intelligence of the universe. We sit on cushions. We light candles. We chant. We visualize golden light pouring down through the crown of our heads. And we wait. We wait for the connection to happen, for the veil to part, for that elusive moment when we finally feel connected to something greater than ourselves. But what if that entire framing is fundamentally backwards? What if you're not a separate drop of water trying to reconnect with the ocean? What if you are the ocean? The great separation that never happened. The belief that we need to connect to Source implies that somewhere along the way, the connection was broken. This is the foundational story of so many spiritual traditions, that we've fallen from grace, been cast out of the garden, separated ourselves from God through sin or ignorance or karma. But here's the thing, Source doesn't experience separation. Separation is something we experience. It's a perception, a lens, a very convincing illusion. But it's not reality. Think about waves on the ocean. Each wave has its own form, its own movement, its own temporary identity. But no wave has ever been separate from the ocean. No wave has ever looked at another wave and thought, I need to figure out how to reconnect to the water. The wave is the water, always has been, always will be. The form is temporary. The substance is eternal. You are the form and the substance. You are the wave and the ocean. You are the temporary expression and the eternal source from which that expression emerges. The connection was never broken. It literally cannot be broken. Why this matters? If you're trying to connect to Source, you're essentially trying to find something you've never lost. You're searching for your glasses while wearing them. You're asking where the water went while swimming in the ocean. The shift from, I need to connect, to, I am Source expressing, changes everything. It transforms seeking into remembering. You stop chasing experiences and start recognizing what's already true. The spiritual path becomes less about acquisition and more about unveiling. It releases the pressure of performance. You don't need to do the right meditation, say the right prayer, or have the right experience to earn connection. You can't earn what you already are. It dissolves the hierarchy of spiritual attainment. No one is more connected than anyone else. Some people may be more aware of their connection, but the connection itself is identical in all beings. The saint and the skeptic are equally Source. The mystic and the materialist are equally Source. The enlightened master and the one who's never meditated a day in their life, equally Source. It changes how you see others. If you are Source, then everyone you meet is also Source. Not has Source within them, or is connected to Source, but is Source. The barista, your ex-partner, the person who cut you off in traffic, all Source. Every single one. What this actually looks like. Okay, but what does this mean in practice? How does this shift land in real life? It means you stop looking outside yourself for answers, validation, or guidance. Not because external teachers and traditions aren't valuable, they absolutely are, but because you recognize that whatever wisdom they offer is simply a reflection of the wisdom that already lives in you. It means you don't need to fix yourself to be worthy of love. The love you're seeking isn't something you receive, it's something you are. The source from which all love flows is what you're made of. It means you can relax into life, not in a passive, checked-out way, but in a way that's deeply trusting. You're not a fragile little ego navigating a dangerous universe. You're the universe itself, temporarily focused through the lens of this particular body and personality. It means your prayers become less about asking and more about affirming. Less about, please give me, and more about, I recognize what already is. You're not talking to a distant deity. You're communing with your own deepest nature. The mistake we make. Here's the trap. This isn't about spiritual bypassing. It's not a loophole for avoiding growth, shadow work, or responsibility. It's not a justification for treating the world like an illusion to be transcended. If you are source, then this human experience matters. It's not a mistake. It's not a punishment. It's not something to escape. You chose this embodiment. Source chose to express through this specific life, with all its messiness, all its challenges, all its joy and heartbreak. The fact that you are source doesn't make your human experience less real. It makes it more sacred. Your struggles aren't signs of disconnection. They're the very texture of source exploring itself through limitation. How to live this? If you want to shift from seeking connection to recognizing yourself as source, here are some pointers. Notice the one who is aware. Behind your thoughts, behind your emotions, behind your personality, there is awareness. That awareness isn't something you have, it's something you are. And that awareness is the same awareness that's in every being, that animates all of existence. It's source, looking out through your eyes. Question your stories of separation. When you feel disconnected, ask yourself, who is it that feels disconnected? And what is that disconnection made of? Where is the actual boundary between me and source? Stop trying to get somewhere. The spiritual path isn't about arriving. It's about realizing you're already home. You're already there. The journey is the process of recognizing what was true all along. Remember that everyone is doing their best with what they know. Even those who seem completely unconscious of their source nature are still source. They're just having a very convincing dream of separation. You can hold compassion for the dreamer while recognizing the truth of what they really are. The shift. The spiritual life isn't about building a bridge to God. It's about realizing you were never on the other side. You're not a disconnected fragment trying to find its way back to wholeness. You're the whole, temporarily experiencing itself as a fragment for the sheer joy of waking up to what it truly is. You're not connected to source. You are source. Always have been. Always will be. And that's the most ordinary, extraordinary truth there is. The journey isn't from here to there. It's from here to here with the dawning recognition that here was always home. What would change in your life today if you stopped trying to connect to source and started living as the source you already are? Don't forget to sign up to our mailing list, follow our social channels, donate if you're able, and question everything with more free blogs and life-changing books at beawakeawarealive.com. Thanks for listening to another enlightening podcast from beawakeawarealive.com, where we question everything.